Dun 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 dun. And I give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't want to go home right now. And all I can taste is this moment, no pun intended. And all I can breathe is your life. And sooner or later it's over. I just don't want to miss you tonight. Here
Don't
we
want the
go. And I
world to
don't
see
want
me.
to see, 'cause I don't think that they'd
When
understand.
everything's made to
Peter,
be
when
broken.
everything's meant to be, I just want you to know who I am.
Ooh,
Yeah, I've been on a Goo Goo
that's a
Dolls
good
kick,
one,
brother.
bro.
That shit,
That's a goodie.
they fire. Um, yeah, we might have to put a B-roll carousel with that backdrop. Put a little story in there. Peter and I were just talking about content right before hopping on this call. But Peter, what's
Dude,
new
it's
in your
race week
world?
for your boy, man. Sheesh, I've been prepping for this bad boy for quite a while now, but the week is finally here. I'm flying out on 2 days from now. Flying up to Traverse City, Michigan, and gonna try for sub three. Third time's the charm.
It might be
Is that what it's
Traverse City,
pronounced?
Michigan.
I've been pronouncing it Traverse the whole
I
time, but
think
yeah,
so.
this is probably true. The marathon is called
Cherries, though.
Bayshore. But dude, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I swear, like every single time race week rolls around, I just get all these like phantom like body aches that just like randomly appear that have never been there. Like I was like walking around today, I was like, dude, why does my ankle feel so funny? And then yesterday, I like halfway through the day, I was like, man, am I? Do I feel like I'm kind of getting sick? What's going on? So I went and like chugged just a bunch of vitamin C, electrolytes, and like try and sleep 9 hours. But I feel like it's just all like psychological, honestly.
Brother, you need a
What is it
sensu
called?
bean. That's what you need right now. You
No.
ever watch Dragon Ball Z? It's like they take a sensu bean and like heals them and
Oh hell
allows them to
yeah! So
keep training
basically,
harder.
like like roids
No,
and peptides.
yeah.
No,
I
yeah,
can't believe you never watched
I
Dragon
wasn't
Ball
a big
Z.
cartoon guy growing up. I think the main thing I watched a little bit of Kids WB, so some Jackie Chan Adventures and Samurai Jack. But those are like probably the two really the only cartoons that I watched growing up.
You hit him with a Yumo
Yeah,
Guai Fi Di Tao Yu.
Uncle.
I don't even know what the fuck that
But it's crazy
Chucky.
because a lot of times on
Um,
Saturday when those shows would come on, right? Like we would have to go to Chinese school on the weekend. So what we would do is we would have a blank VHS and record it like while the show was going, and then so record, and then we come back from Chinese school on Saturdays, and then we'd watch it.
Jeez. Dude, I literally we Peter is running the New York City Marathon along with one of our PTs, and I was like, yeah, I was presenting on my why behind volunteering for the organization that we support little kids, and I was like, yeah, because we didn't get the fucking play growing up. Like all the money our parents fucking funneled to fucking
Yeah, some
more like after school
Kumon.
programs. I'm like, yo, can I fucking bullshit? And Asian kids never really like paid attention. It wasn't like a thing that you
No,
actually used
not
a
at all,
ton.
man. But
Like,
yeah, it's just like growing up in an Asian household. There's just certain things that are just like integrated as part of your DNA, whether it's part of just like first gen American born immigrant, right? Whether it's going to school or having seeing some of your parents' work ethic, or just like different frameworks around how you view money. So which is a perfect segue into
go.
what we talking about today, some money
We talking
mindset.
about money. We talking about. We talking about. We
We
talking
talking
about
about
money.
money.
We talking about money. Talking about money. Yeah, I think a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot
Bro, I
when
still
it
shoot
comes to money
myself in the
mindset.
foot.
And dude, you don't even understand. I've had to like I do so many random
Mm-hmm.
things to overcome this money mindset.
But look,
Like,
Yeah.
And now I finally feel good. Like I feel like we were chilling on the couch yesterday. Christy's like, does anything scare you in business? I'm like,
Hmm.
not right now. Like nothing scares me. She goes, even though all this stuff is happening. I'm like, yep, we're about to. One, our ads are fucking ripping. The only thing that happened
Oh
is our
shit.
phone line went down. There apparently is some sort of crash with Quo, but hopefully it goes back up. And it's
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. It's the
yeah.
middle of the day. It's all good. It's the beginning of the day. It's kind of rough, but even then, it's like, dude, we've PR'd
Let's
like on
go.
evals this month already. Book highest
Hell yeah.
conversions that we've had. Third PT signed a contract, interviewed another PT that we're most likely going to be bringing on. So we're just going to like working on creating all the different things in the back end. Interviewed another SDR. I got a call with uh, Peter's got a success coach hire for GGC. We're trying to find a media buyer to help us. We're essentially building an in-house
Mhm.
agency for GGC. But it was crazy because like we had someone, I had a moment mentee reach out, and I was like, "Damn, dude, you're in Austin.
Yeah.
You got to be on a wait list." Like, oh my God, it's just crazy that we're legitimately putting people on wait lists now.
Yeah,
I
because
was
I
like,
think, I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
but
like
yeah,
one of the things with
lots
like,
of
kind
things
of
are
like with
moving.
what Andy was saying with like building out some of these more kind of in-house resources when it comes to lead generation. That's one of the main things why we need to cap, certain number of people within a certain city. We don't want to cannibalize, especially with like a lot of the, done for you ads, or even just teaching you guys how to run ads, whether it's Meta, Google, or even just like SEO. Like if we just allow like 10 people in within the same city into the group and we teach everybody, everybody's cost per lead is naturally going to slowly increase. And so one of the ways that we're ensuring like the success, because at the end of the day, like you guys hear us talk about a ton, just client success is always the number one main thing, right? Way before marketing, way before sales and everything like that. And so if we really want to make sure everybody who comes in gets the best desired outcome, then we have to make sure they have the lowest cost per lead, they have the lowest CAC, they have the best, lead booking, sales process. And, a lot of times too, like there is a lot more that goes into it than just lead generation. There's a whole like sales process that goes from how do we actually contact these leads and get them booked into initial evaluation. And, one of the things that we're already kind of looking ahead for the people in our group is making sure they have, resources from a staffing standpoint to make sure that, this process can be as optimized as possible. And so, yeah, like I said, like we're not saying this as just like a scarcity tactic, right? It's literally just, hey, it's a matter of, it's just how it is. Like, and so if you are in a city and you're not sure if anybody's in there, you might as well be the first one in.
Yeah, it's go getters coaching. And did you expect this to grow
No, I
this
knew it
quick?
was gonna grow, dude. Like I knew like what we had was like something special because nobody else was really teaching kind of a lot of the strategies that we're currently implementing, and then also as well too, there's not a lot of people. I don't think anybody else is really currently operating. So those are our kind of two biggest levers, right? And so I knew we would grow, but I just didn't think that we would grow at the rate that we had grown at.
Yeah, our last meeting, Christy, Peter, and I was just straight up like all talking about fulfillment. Like normally we're talking about growth strategies. That meeting was just like straight up like how do we get better? How do we support people more and more? And like it's gonna be super fun. It's a weird challenge, right? Because as it scales, because like the one thing that we really pride ourselves in is like making sure
Mhm.
that everyone knows each other. That's the coolest part so far about like all the events that we've been to. It's like everyone is rooting for each other, and we're trying to keep that as much as possible. So it's like we've onboarded a lot of people recently, and it's cool to see everyone kind of get integrated. But man, it is not easy to grow multiple businesses at once. And when a lot of things are hiring, like when you're hiring a lot more, it's like I think one of the biggest levers that I'm pulling in my head, it's like
Mhm.
I need to get my time back no matter what. So at the bare minimum, I'm paying you money, you're gonna give me my time back. But what I'm trying to do is like if I'm paying you money, you're helping me make money and
For
also
sure.
get my time back at the same time. So every single hire now, it's like, yep, time back, making more money, time back, making more money. But I think the first thing you have to conceptualize is how valuable
Mhm.
your time is. And the shift that I give people, um, it's just how valuable your life is, right? Like, I did this analogy. I'm like, hey, who here would want if I give you $10 million right now, would you take it? And everyone would be like, oh, hell yeah, I'd take $10 million. But the only caveat is that you won't wake up tomorrow. Then all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
nah, I don't want $10 million, right? So what you're telling me now is that your life is worth at least $10 million. You can run that with whatever number you want. Essentially,
Hmm.
you can't put a price on your life. That's what you need to get to like start to realize, like, once you have some degree of self-worth, then you can start to extrapolate that into your time. Once you can extrapolate it into your time, it
Yeah.
starts to bleed into everything else. But that's one shift that I had recently where I'm like, holy shit, my life is insanely valuable. Or like these moments that I'm having, the time that I'm spending with
Yeah,
people is
I think that was
insanely
something
valuable.
that it's taken me a pretty long time to kind of like start to shift away from, primarily because a lot of, at the beginning we are talking about kind of like your upbringing. I don't know, maybe you have some thoughts about this, whether a lot of like our current or maybe previous like mindset or perceptions is primarily shaped by how our parents behave. And so like growing up, I always saw my dad, like my dad was, he's super handy, and so like every single weekend he's always like doing house projects. And we have kind of have this like ongoing joke, like he's never going to get to a point where he's like finished with all the house projects. Like when we were little, he said that he would build, like, me and my younger brother Daniel, a bunk bed for one of our birthdays, and he never got around to it. And it's still like an ongoing joke that we have. It's like, hey, like, when are you gonna build that bunk bed? But he was just always somebody that would always like look to save like whatever dollar that he could. Primarily just because he came here straight from Taiwan, went to grad school here, and so you're not really coming in with a lot of money, so every dollar counts. And so growing up, same thing, I would always just kind of see him, hey, like, all right, instead of taking the car to the shop and getting your oil change, he would do it himself. Every single thing, when it came to, as long as he could figure it out, he would do everything he could to do it himself versus paying somebody else. And so I think like at the beginning, when I kind of first initially got into business, I kind of like had a little bit of the same mindset. I would like see, all right, cool, like what else can I do myself? And so my first couple like clinic build outs, I basically did all the manual labor of like rolling down the flooring and like doing all the painting, and I like worked myself to the bone, dog. Like it was physically exhausting. And so, but a lot of it is really just kind of stemming from, hey, like I saw that's how my dad did it. Okay, that's probably like what I'm going to try and do moving forward. But throughout the years as business progressed, luckily my mindset has also kind of evolved a little bit as well too. And so now my first like train of thought whenever it comes to a specific task is like, cool, like who can I like pay to offload this to? Um, and I wish like my I wish my dad could have some of that mindset. I mean, shit, he just retired last year. But yeah, now he's he's just getting on with his all of his list of house projects at the house. But yeah, I think it's something that takes a little bit to kind of get used to, but once you do, it changes and shifts your perspective forever, man.
So if you're an entrepreneur, what you're gonna do is you're gonna like look at your tax return document and you're gonna look at how much money you took home, and then you're gonna divide that by 2080. And 2080 is 52 times 40. And to Peter's point, right? It's like if you make a certain amount of money, it doesn't make sense to do jobs that are cheaper. That's one framework that I typically do. So let's say you're at 80K a year, divided by 2080. That gets you to about $38.50. You're 80K a year. Anything that is about
Hmm.
25% of that, you want to delegate so that you can slowly focus on more of your earning potential. If you're a cash-based physical therapist now, right? If you're doing a session and it's 250 a session, but then you're doing something like video editing, for instance, right? That you can outsource virtually to somebody else for anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,000 a month. If you spend 5 hours a week doing video edits, that's 20 hours in a month, and you're 250, you're leaving
Yeah.
$5,000 on the table. So you would be able to pay a video editor, probably have them do a way better job than you, and also have an extra leftover 3K from focusing on doing the thing that is your zone of genius. Right? So that's another like thing to conceptualize. It's like the task that you're doing right now, how much revenue is it generating relative to the other tasks that you could be doing that really move
Yeah.
your
And I
business
think a lot
forward?
of times too, you have to kind of switch away from thinking about, hey, like immediate payout for the hour versus kind of long term. Because, at the beginning, a lot of times people have a hard time letting go of like treating patients because they kind of associate, all right, cool, if I treat this one patient, I get like $250, $300, whatever it is. And so it took me a very long time to kind of slowly offload that. And then I kind of then switched to, hey, I would only do evals, right? Because for every eval that I was sitting on, I would probably close, 3 to 5K POC and then not do any fulfillment. So I saw kind of like immediate, higher leverage ROI on that. But then same thing, I was thinking, okay, cool. Like, well, what if I take the time of doing, 20 evals a week or so and shift that into, creating a better hiring process, optimizing our ads a little bit better. What is the long-term ROI on that? Now, I'm not going to immediately see like an immediate like 28 times 20 hours times, let's say like with $300 or whatever ROI immediately. However, if I zoom out on the overall year and look at it from like a 90-day window, cool, maybe in those 90 days of those 20 hours that I wasn't doing evaluations, can I bring on another PT? And then what is that amount of revenue that this new PT can now generate? But if I had never stepped away, I wouldn't be able to kind of create that leverage, in order to actually implement this new hire to be able to generate the cash flow and revenue that I now can. And now it's like, aside from that, now we zoom out and you look at even more macros, which is basically what these larger companies or private equity does. Is like, hey, they look at entire businesses as a whole and see like, okay, cool, like what is this kind of like one lever that I can pull that can immediately get a much larger like cash flow ROI in 6 figures or 7 figures from a 5-year window time frame. So it's really cool, just kind of like slowly, stepping back, shifting it. But a lot of it really just comes down to your overall mindset in terms of like, hey, how much are you valuing your time, and what's the largest like ROI that you can generate from your time from a long term perspective.
Yeah, the the investment, like, you're probably hearing us like talk about hiring constantly, and like if you listen to like the first episode of GGC to where we're at now,
Yeah,
like
for
even
sure.
we are in a different place, right? Like, it's just so crazy. But we constantly invest in ourselves because I guarantee you it's like
It
a
is.
fucking
Yep.
drug, dude. It's like the minute that you take a course or a seminar or a mastermind or work with a group that allows you to become more valuable,
Mhm.
you just want to keep paying people money. And I tell that to every single person, right? Whenever I get on these like sales calls, I'm like, if you make me more money, I'll keep paying you
Yeah.
money. I have no reason to stop. What's the biggest mistakes that I see people make? Like, there's a couple of people that left GGC, and I'm like, why? You were literally stuck below 5K for 2 years. You joined GGC. We helped you PR within
Yeah.
3 to 6 months. And now our offers, obviously change. And I'm just like, that's crazy. I'm like, I would never stop paying
Yeah.
someone money that continuously makes me money. I just got on a sales call yesterday, and the person's like, yeah, it's 5,000 a month to help manage some of your ad strategy, be your media buying for something that we're trying to grow with Moment Education. But after talking to him, it seemed like a better fit for GGC. But it's like, yeah, it's 5K a month. But this is the guy that's doing it for the fucking best of the best. Like, he's literally doing it for like Cody Sanchez. He's doing it. I'm consulting with another person that does it for Mark Manson to sell Art of Not Giving a Fuck. So it's like we're paying a lot of money, but I'm learning. I want to learn from the person that literally
Yeah.
lives and breathes these things. Part of the day I'm living and breathing like mentoring our PTs. Part of it's like education. Part of it's business. Like, this guy wakes up, he goes, how
Yeah.
can I make your ads and newsletter more profitable?
That's the person I want to pay.
Like, that's it. That's all they breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the person that you want to pay. And you might be thinking like, holy cow, 5,000 is a lot of money, and I'm not saying that it isn't,
But what's the ROI on
but
that? Yeah.
again, I'm looking,
Yeah.
what's the ROI on that, right? Because if he makes me 20, it's a 4 to 1. If most people that are do this well, they're probably looking for like a
Yeah.
8 to 10x ROI.
I think throughout like
Helping
all
me
the years of
gain.
business, for the most part, I've always like paid somebody to like give me kind of like a game plan and an action plan. And like throughout like the little breaks where I haven't directly worked somebody and I'll be in kind of like a 3 month or 5 month kind of lull, I always feel kind of just like almost like plateaued and stuck because I don't have anybody almost kind of like nudging me and pushing me, towards something. I'm just kind of just like implementing what I've already learned, but it's just, I don't know. For me, I always like would rather have the accountability as well as just almost kind of clarity to have somebody kind of bounce ideas off. Like, hey, all right, cool. Like, this is what I'm thinking. Is this the right way? From somebody who's already kind of done what we're looking to do. But I think, yeah, that's like I think the sooner that you can learn to either like get an ROI from paying somebody on a course, the better that I can kind of shift some of your mindset. Because shit, like I'm thinking now, like man, if I'm like 6 or 7 years into business and I'm like still have issues around money and whatnot, like there's no way that I would be where I currently am at, man. But it's just like just like with anything, you're gonna have people who have something that's valuable that you get like a pretty good and fast ROI from, and other people who like don't necessarily get you the ROI that you're looking for. But I also have kind of shifted my mindset around that throughout the years as well, where not getting anything that's like tangibly ROI immediately is just as beneficial because you understand what doesn't work and what not to do. So it's almost kind of like process by elimination, and that kind of slowly, like over the years, has allowed me to figure out, okay, cool, like this is what I'm looking for when it comes to like a fit. This is what I'm looking for when it comes to like implementation or courses and whatnot.
Yeah, you're never gonna bat perfect, but that's what entrepreneurship is. You're gonna fail
Yeah,
way more than everybody else, but when you bat and you make contact with the bat,
it's a home run,
it's a
baby.
fucking contact. Yeah, I would say 1 out of 3 masterminds I join
Yeah,
are
I'd say
valuable.
about
What
that.
about you?
It's definitely a lower percentage than the ones that are not valuable.
And again, right, the other 2 out of 3,
Yeah.
they do a good job of marketing. They do a good job of doing all the other stuff, but you join it,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
just
it's
it's
not
just
where
process
it's
of
at, and it's
elimination.
like,
You kind of get in, you kind of get a vibe for it, you kind of go through it, and you understand. All right, cool. Like this is not it, and then from there you kind of move on to the next thing. But yeah, it's like you should never just like let one negative experience prevent you from continuing to seek out the next thing, because what happens if that next thing is the very one thing that can help get you to the next level?
yeah. And there's a great quote from Young G: "Scared money don't make money." You just got to like constantly. Before it was like, oh my gosh, we're making a 10K investment. Like this is absolutely insane. Now it's just like
Done.
10K
Yeah.
is like, okay, yeah,
Hey,
done deal.
paid in
5K, it's like,
full.
all right, 5 a month, like 5K a month. I've got to know that you're the fucking real deal. And everyone I talk to at the conference is like, oh, you're looking to solve that problem. Have you talked to so
10
and so?
people
And
have
I'm like,
said his
fuck, dude,
name. Like
you
it's
got to
got
be
to
the
be
fucking.
it.
It's like
Yeah.
10 people have said your fucking name. So yeah, fucking 5K per month. Is it like a little nerve wracking? Sure, but at the same time, it's like this kid speaks with so much conviction. If we rip within like a month or two, I'm more than happy to keep paying 5K a month. And it's got some great fucking
Hmm.
testimonials from absolute
Absolutely.
killers. So
I think another thing too, when it comes to like money mindset, is I feel like what you charge is kind of correlated with your own perception of the value that you provide. And I think like throughout the years, as a lot of the client success has been like even more cemented and ingrained, right? At the very beginning, you're kind of like not too sure. Hey, like, am I able to kind of charge this amount? Because you're not really too sure in your ability to kind of get somebody success. Like, like, hey, you can get people results. But I think there's just so much to be said about like, getting the repetitions in and seeing so many people, leave reviews or tell you, hey, like you changed their life. And so it's like if you know you can change somebody's life, that you have to like charge a price point that's high enough where they can believe that you can get them the results. Otherwise, if you charge too little and like you're promising them like kind of like a life-changing outcome, there will be some people who look at it and be like, wait, is this like for real? Like you're telling me you can like solve my 10 years worth of chronic back pain only for like $100 a session? Like, is this even legit, dude? Like, is this a real establishment? Because I think a lot of people, where if they kind of understand business, they understand like you have other operating costs. You need to have high enough margins to be able to invest into whether it's ad spend, marketing, hiring on good people, paying them well, along with benefits, or investing in some mentorship and courses. But the only way you do that is if you have high enough margins. And I know over the years, like we've definitely kind of like staircased our way up. I think last year was the one year where we've like staircased up our prices like multiple times throughout the year, and like our close rate stayed exactly the same. And that shifted a tremendous like mindset belief in my brain. I always thought, hey, we had to just only raise prices once a year because that's what everyone else was doing. But yeah, you got to charge high enough.
Yeah, the one thing that I've been thinking about more and more, and I put this past weekend, I wrote down like five post-its. Like it's like goals for moment PT, goals for moment education, goals for go getters, lifetime goals, and like my north star. Like what are some values that I just won't compromise on as I'm trying to achieve all of these goals. I put some fucking ridiculous
Let's
numbers.
go.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and like my goal is to like
Yes.
just normalize that. It's like, hey, I'm just gonna keep looking at this goal, and like eventually, I'm not. It's not gonna feel crazy. Because that's the cool part about going to like these events. Like went to like the newsletter conference this past weekend, and I was just like, dude, people are just normalizing like
Hmm.
8-figure numbers. Like it's just like this one dude had 4.5 million subscribers. That's half of the people that live in New York City are subscribed. Like just to, every 1 out of 2 people that you walk by in New York City
Jeez.
is subscribed to this guy. This newsletter. Each employee generates a million in revenue. The company I think is worth
Sheesh.
25 million, and it's a fucking newsletter, right? It's super valuable. Like he helps you like explore like deep dives into like super interesting
Hmm.
topics that are hot right now. So like if you're like interested in like how like AI works, like he does like deep breakdowns of like AI. If you're interested in like how like certain things like climate or stuff works, he does a deep dive into those things. But like you hear these people that are like just crushing it, and yeah, they've just normalized talking about money, and I'm like, yeah, I've shied away from it. I've even virtue signoed, and I'm like, dude, listen to Jeremy Haynes all the time. The guy's
Yep.
just like, I fucking love to make
Million
money,
dollar
right?
months.
And I feel,
It's normal.
dude,
Yeah.
I fucking love to make money. I love to make money. I feel like I'm getting really good at making money, and like all that money does is it just
Yeah.
amplifies all the good that I can do, right? You're not going to make a certain type of money and start giving it away. Like by beginning of next year, we're going to have built a school. Like that's fucking insane, right? That we're going to build a school by the beginning of next year. Other things, it's like when I see someone on the street and like they need a meal, like, I have this rule in my head. It's called the 1% rule. And it's simple. 1% of whatever you make, you use it to just do random good deeds for people that can do
Hmm.
nothing for you. And that's like how you start to live in abundance. What you're going to realize is like when you do something for like a homeless person, when you do something for like a little kid at a bookstore, it's like, hey, I'm going to pay for your books or I'm going to buy your bubble tea. It's like, fucking A, that feels so good. It
For
makes you
sure.
feel like a
Yeah.
bigger
There's just
person.
something, it's almost kind of hard to describe the sensation. I think that's why too, like when people do like donations or tithing, like it's something that they do repetitively, whether it's to like offset, some sort of maybe previous guilt that they've had, maybe something bad they've done before in the past, right? But it's just like a feeling that's indescribable that makes like, hey, you're making a massive difference in somebody's life by providing them with some resources that they wouldn't have been able to kind of provide on their own.
Yeah, Peter and I have talked about this multiple times where it's like, at some point we're going to buy a team
Straight up.
Rolexes, right? Like at some point, like, as the company starts to grow, it's like, yeah, of course, like as your revenue grows, you're going to be able to do some fucking amazing things for your team. Like we've tossed around the idea of like doing like every like if you've been with the company like every 5 years,
Mhm.
you should be able to do a sabbatical. Like a trip by yourself. But you can't do
If
that.
you don't
Guess
have
what?
any
If you're
margins
not
baked
charging enough.
in, like how are you going to pay them while they go on sabbatical? Yeah.
Yeah, like, and those are the things where it's like it's fucking unbelievable. Like, and how do these bigger companies that do like student loan paybacks? Like, how are they able to do that? It's because they keep
Yeah.
growing, they keep building their revenue. So it's like you can make you can make everything stickier when you
Yeah.
have more money and
I
can
think
offer more stuff. Like most of your problems right now, it's because you don't generate enough
there's
leads,
no
which
revenue.
doesn't, which
Yep.
means you're not allowed to make more money.
I think
Yeah,
it
there's
goes
no
back to a
revenue.
lot into like last week we were talking about, hey, like, you have this responsibility to grow and scale. And part of that is like having the ability to be able to know that you're responsible for the financial part of your entire team. And so it's like, there's a really great feeling that you get where, whenever like the entire business does well and, like as a byproduct of that, the whole team's going to eat. It's just like as you continue to win, like your entire team's going to continue to win. And I think as a byproduct of that, you will continue to attract like better and better employees because everybody wants to play for the winning team.
Yeah. The incentives align, right? There's a great story with Warren Buffett. Basically, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, I think they had a big stake in FedEx, and they were trying to figure out how to make the
Hmm.
company more efficient because deliveries and stuff weren't happening on time. So they set a simple rule. They said you can leave for your shift as quickly as you finish delivering all your packages. And now all of a sudden,
Yeah,
since they incentivize everyone to do those things quickly, people got home earlier
quicker.
and all the
Yeah.
packages got delivered quicker. So it's like if you set up the business in a way where it's like every single time the business is doing well, you also get to do better. We've changed our incentives. We're building out the org structure so that like there's more long term plays as well, dude. It's so easy. I don't say it's so easy to win, but the incentives are there. Whatever you
Hmm.
incentivize, the behaviors
How
will
would
change.
you how would you recommend somebody can kind of take actions from a place of abundance? Because I think like I go back to thinking a lot about like in those like first 2 years when I started, dude, and a lot of like what we're talking about now is ain't no way that shit's applicable. Because I'm like, dude, like scrounging. I'm like, dude, I gotta close this eval, man. Otherwise, like, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough money to pay rent. Like, what are some like words of advice you can kind of give to like somebody who's kind of like just starting out and maybe like they haven't gotten to a place of like abundance or like having as many resources as like versus somebody who's been in business a little bit longer.
Yeah, there's. I'm reading this book. It's Levels of Energy. Fucking phenomenal. And the guy's like, you could save a lot of fucking money paying these random fucking gurus if you just sat in a room by yourself and listen, like allowed yourself to breathe for like 10 minutes. You don't sit still enough
Hmm.
to allow anything to happen. And I was like, oh man, that's so funny because what I'm about to tell you is the same thing, right? There's no real trick to this besides for 5 minutes a day, just sit. And this is the biggest shift by far that's happened in my life. For 5 minutes a day, I say out loud things that I'm grateful for. I take a deep breath and I say another thing. Take a
Hmm.
deep breath and I say another thing. And what you're going to realize is that you have so much fucking abundance in your life. But if you're always feeling like, oh, you're not where you need to be yet, you're not the person that you want to become yet, or like, oh, I need to have this and then I'll be happy. I need to hit X revenue and then I'll be happy. It's like, oh my gosh, you're gonna be fucking miserable. Like it's such a cliche, but you can't get to that point until you consistently just every day for 5 minutes say what you're grateful for, take a deep breath, and do it for the full 5 minutes. Joe Hudson, I got this from Joe Hudson, and the only reason I did the drill this exercise was because if you do this, you'll be the wealthiest person. I'm telling you this right now. You won't ever have to worry about money again, and you have so much wealth. You accumulate so much wealth. It'll completely change your mind, your frequency, and it did. But the only reason I did
That
it
it
is because
would,
he
yeah.
promised me
I guess
letting me
shit, man.
up.
Like I guess like bring it full
Yeah, but
circle. If a lot of our previous beliefs and mindset were influenced by the environment that we place ourselves in, then now that you're a grown ass adult, you also have the ability to curate your environment so that you can think a specific way. I saw this video the other day from the guy's name is John Madsen, but he talks about yeah, the dude's savage,
fucking
but he
savage.
talks about how music influences a lot of the way he like kind of views his mindset on winning, right? So he's all about, hey, like we're gonna win, we're gonna win, we're gonna win. And so he says a lot of the music that he listens to is a lot of Kanye West, because Kanye, like as as some people have certain specific thoughts about him, but
Pre
Kanye just
pre
talks a lot about loving
pre
himself.
anti-Semitic,
Yeah,
pre
he
anti-Semitic
just he
Kanye.
just
Yeah.
constantly talks about loving himself, and then he says the other artist is Drake. Drake, no matter what, always talks about like winning, get money, like always, the entire team will always eat. And so he's like, hey, like versus if you were somebody who's constantly listening to like, breaking up and like, always being down in the dumps, right?
You're
As
saying
as much
country
as I
music.
do enjoy, some of
Yeah,
that like
country
sad
music
boy
is
music every
depressing.
once in a while, I think he very well does have a very good point. Like what a lot of what you read, a lot of what you kind of are influenced by will affect your overall perception and which will then affect how you overall take actions and the things that you will do throughout the day. And I guess like I didn't even really know we were going to be talking about this today, but like one of the things that I did yesterday, I basically did like an entire dump of like some of the memes that I saw in the past couple of months of like shit that I liked of winning, you know. And I was like, all right, the post was called like Race Week meme mogging, and then a lot of it was just like, you know, one of them was like, hey, branches are heavy when the fruits are ripe. Another one's like, they can't stop our emotion, twin. Let him cook. Another one's with Michael Jordan's like, voices in my head said it's meant for me. This one's good. I like this one. The grass is greener wherever the fuck I am. Um, Daily reminder, stay fire. Even at my lowest, I'm goaded. Ain't no better feeling than knowing you're back in that mode. Not even close to the swag I want to reach, but very far from where it all started. So it's just like that, you know. I was like, because I was like throughout the day, I was like, man, like, am I getting sick? I was like, no, fuck this. Like, I need to like, you know, tell myself, hey, it's gonna be all right, and just like, you know, just like going through some of my art, I was like, man, these are good memes I want to throw out there. So a lot of it is, I think, you know, as like, you know, woo as it sounds, your environment does play a lot of, you know, how you view things, and so you might as well set yourself up for success.
There's a study where I asked you to hold an iced coffee and I asked you to hold a hot coffee. And then I asked you to read a story about somebody. It's like a quick 2 minute story. And then they asked the person that's drinking the coffee, or no, they didn't even drink the coffee. They just held the coffee, what they thought of the story. If they held a cold coffee, they thought
Mm,
that the character was very cold. If they held a hot coffee, they thought the character was very warm and inviting. And it was about 80% match on the coffee because there's
yeah,
always going to be some natural variability. Like Peter's right. It's like the environment will fucking shape you. It's something as simple as holding a coffee. What you guys might notice if you ever watch me speak in person is that I always hold a
dude,
hot
I've
coffee
never
in my
noticed
hand.
that. Okay.
Yeah, I always hold a hot coffee. When I'm holding a hot coffee, when I'm presenting, and then I've learned this from a sales perspective as well. It's like people think that you're naturally warmer if you hold a hot coffee as you're talking to them for the first time. So almost every single talk that I do, I'm holding a coffee or some sort. But yeah, dude, I all these like random things that motivate you. That's why I was like so excited when Christy's like, "Yo, we got a second bedroom. Do it or fuck you wanted that bedroom." I'm like, "Let's
Oh yeah.
go!" Like right, like I just got fucking plants on my side. Got the Rolex. I got a fucking my post-its to remind me. Got the moment like jersey. I got Kobe's up top. I got a Michigan helmet that I got gifted
Hmm.
from my best friend, and it's like from when we won. So it's like that whole environment's like winning, and that is like so fucking powerful. But to Peter's point, there was something fucking dope, like these little like motivational things that you get sent. It said, if you pray for flowers, don't be surprised when it starts to rain. I was like, let's go, baby. But I literally keep a whole fucking document of random quotes that I think are just fire, beliefs or thoughts. Because you can change your
So
frequency and how
fast.
you feel super quickly. That's why I make random
So
fucking
fast.
playlists.
I think that's so cool. Yeah, like to
Yeah.
have a lot of those things that are within your capability, because I think a lot of times people kind of catastrophize things that are completely outside of your control. But I think like if you know that, hey, like how you view things is 100% within your control, then take action on it. I think that, right, like changing your perspective on, you know, on whether it's money or winning, that paired along with, you know, obviously taking action on the right implements, like I think a combination of that like is almost like a guarantee of, hey, like the success that you will see. Because I think it's like you can't really have one without the other, right? It's like you can take action, but if you're constantly like viewing things from a very pessimistic standpoint, like at some point it's like it's almost kind of you're going through the motions, but it's like it's not really that as impactful or productive as it could be. And then vice versa, it's like you can't really just like kind of think of it and in a room read all these things but not do any action. You really need kind of like a combination of both, and that's really kind of I think the powerful you know, combo that can get people places.
Yeah, there's something called be do have, and that's like the sequence that you have to follow. You have to be, right, change your identity. Just tell yourself that this is who I am. Then you, based off that who you are, how does that person act? And when you act a certain way, you're going to get those things. But the reason why you're stuck is you're waiting to have something before you change your actions, before you change your actions to change your identity. So if you're constantly in this have do be state where you're just waiting for your physical like environment to change, you're never gonna win. You've got to change fucking everything internally, right? Just there's nothing more powerful than just being straight up like, this is who I am now. And then these are all the behaviors that that type of person will take. And when you follow those behaviors, your physical reality will change. And now it's like, it's hard for me to like resonate with certain people because they're like, how do I do this? I'm like, you just fucking
Yeah.
declare your identity, change your behaviors, and everything will change. Everything's going to follow. Right. And you just got to have so much conviction in it that it will change. But again, I'm not speaking like this because I've had it like that for a while. Right. But I just kind of came to this conclusion like last December. It's like, every single day that you wake up, you can declare yourself as somebody else, right? The 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 version of yourself. You can just make that declaration and start behaving that way. Because guess what? You're choosing to stay the same. So you can always make
Sheesh.
the choice.
Dude, I'm about to run through a brick wall after this, man. You know what? I'm gonna give us some kudos and flowers for this episode, man. I'm thinking like, dude, if I'm on the other side of this and listening to this podcast, I'm like, dude, that's a banger episode.
I crack up because like you're gonna, the tax credit, you know what you need to do, but everything is just the fucking barriers they keep putting against yourself, right? Oh, what
What
if
if
it
it
doesn't
does?
work? Well, why don't
What if it
you, yeah, you
does?
just keep asking, what if it does? What if it does?
But
Like
what if we hit a
the
million
frame for
dollars a
everything is so
month?
negative, dude, and it will. And that's kind of like that's the thing that I am trying to overcome right now. It's like we are hitting the
Mhm.
momentum is momentuming, and I always think like, ah, fuck, what's gonna happen? What's around the corner? But I'm like, what if nothing's around the corner? What if it keeps being fucking great? What if we keep riding this
And the wave
fucking
just
wave?
keeps going
Yeah,
and it doesn't stop.
yeah, because that's what Christy asked me yesterday. She goes, "What are you working through right now?" I'm like, "I'm working through the fact that like I think I have a limiting mindset that it can't always be this
Mm.
good forever, and it could be. It could
And you
just
just
keep
keep
being
winning.
really fucking good." Because you kind of see some people are like, "Yo, that guy just cannot seem to lose." And Young came to present at our
Uh-huh.
in Austin when we were talking in San Francisco. He goes, "Andy, I love your mantras, but I don't really do much. I just wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm Young Han, and so many
I
amazing things happen to me." He says, and he says, I repeat that 10 times
love
and I
it. It
start
could
my
be as
day.
simple as that.
And I'm just like, I'm fucking
All
overcomplicating
good
this
things happen to
bitch.
me. That's it.
What is one like thing that you did that you weren't ready for, but you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway? What's something
Shit,
for
I think the
like that for
first
you?
time we opened up our second location and went through the acquisition. I think that was something where it was just like I had no idea whether or not like it was going to work out. I don't think there was any mentors of mine that had like gone through any of that, so I didn't really have anything to kind of bounce off of. But it was kind of just one of those things where up to that point, I guess you have enough of these like little instances of like positive success that you just like, hey, like I'm going to bet on myself and take a shot and make it happen. And did it work out the way that I envisioned it? No. But did I learn a shit ton from it? Hell yeah. So it's just I think little things like that that have kind of slowly built up throughout the journey, right? Like, hey, the first time you take a step into building out your own space, it's like, are you ready to commit to a 3 or 5 year like long term lease where you're tying your house to it, where you're saying, hey, like I'm going to pay for it even if I don't have the revenue from the business to generate it. You gotta validate it from some other assets and resources. So understanding, a lot of times if you have more and more like little wins that build up and you continue to stack it, your belief in yourself becomes higher and higher. I was joking with my wife the other day. It was after I hit an arm workout in the gym. I like went in and I told her, I was like, "Yo, I swear it is impossible to have a bad day after you hit arms. Like literally, if you're having a bad day, just go out to the gym, hit some arms, hit some bis and tries, and look at yourself in the mirror like shit. Like it's gonna be a good day. It's just I don't know. It's just little things like that, man. It cracks me up, but it's so true.
Um, that's fucking hilarious. But yes, oh man, yeah, I'm similar thought process. Like when we like opened up our first space, I was just like, holy, like the lease essentially, the agreement for the duration of time
Yeah,
was like almost $1 million.
it's a
I was like,
lot.
I'm signing our name to this. Like, holy
One last thing.
cow.
One thing that is pretty scary that I've never done before. That I am about to do now is paying for director of ops. So this is gonna be somebody who pay anywhere from like 130 to 150K and is not generating revenue. So it's just it's another thing that I know has to happen at some point. And it's scary as shit because it's just another 13K per month ish, give or take, added on to payroll that it has to come from somewhere else. But I know it's going to pay off in the long term. But yeah, just little things like that throughout the years that have allowed me the confidence to be able to say like, yeah, like this is something that has to happen, and that we're going to pull the trigger on.
Yeah, it's fucking scary. Um, but honestly, sometimes you just look at it and it's like, well,
Yeah,
what's the
what's
other
the other
option?
option?
What is the other option, right? And if the other option is staying exactly where you are and you don't like where you
Not
are,
a good place to be.
not a good place to be. And you should probably give us a fucking 5-star review because we're at
Let's
57. We're
go.
3 away from 60. Please give
Give us
us
our
those
flowers.
3 5-star reviews. Let's go Knicks. That's all I got to say.
Peace.
Peace.